soon as it gets there, it's loading. Okay.
Okay, looks like we're live.
All right. I'm gonna look on my YouTube on my phone and make sure it's good to go. See, normally I would call my mama and make sure it's good to go.
It looks like it's saying we're live.
Okay, there we go. People are entering the chat. We just gonna let them enter, but I don't know how they do interviews on other channels, but we just gonna have a conversation over here on this side.
Okay. I'm here for it.
And I'm like, look, we both got kids. I'm glad we got that worked out. You don't hear a peep.
Girl, between her dad and Cocomelon. Like,
see, my baby is Gracie's Corner. Gracie's Corner. I'm like, I don't want to hear that Cocomelon over there. I'm not interested. I need a little bit of urban hip hop.
But my baby is hooked on Cocomelon, girl.
See, that's why I started YouTube. Well, see, but that music be having me going to sleep. Gracie's Corner, Jules TV over there on YouTube. That's where you want to be.
I'm gonna have to try that out.
But I know, and we definitely going to talk about it a little more. And definitely congratulations on the wedding. The pictures were beautiful.
Thank you so much.
When did you guys get married?
We actually got married that Wednesday. So last Wednesday on the 12th, we got married.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Nice. So, but the weather, where are you guys from again?
Memphis.
Okay. One of my best friends just moved over there, and she said it was like getting a little brisk because I was wondering how the weather was.
Now, last week it was good. This week, the fall is starting to try to sneak on in. Yeah. So, yeah, last week we were good though.
Okay. See, I'm in Delaware, which I'm over there, but it's right near Philly, and today was freezing. It's gonna be 70 Saturday, so it's just
we the same way. Weather is bipolar here.
Okay. That's why I'm like, give me a summer wedding. But then it's like, okay, it's gonna be hot. I'm gonna be sweating. So
right. So this was like that's the perfect, like the fall right before it gets hot. It was the perfect temperature that day. So it was perfect.
Good. So I'm glad. Okay. People are coming in. I was getting nervous because my first link wasn't working. But shout out to I got, a little YouTube community that's helping out. Especially Miss Misha IMO. She posted on her community page for me. She has a really large following, so I appreciate anybody who shared and all that.
I think the family or fiance page, I think they shared it on their story too.
Oh, nice. Hey, JB. Hey, Janaea. So, okay, people, they can see us. So let's just go ahead and get into it. They can if they ain't here yet, they're gonna have to just catch up later. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what outside of the show, they didn't really go into who you are and like what you do outside of just being a mom.
Oh, just being outside of being a mom. Basically, I own a business. I work. I still have my 9 to 5. I own a business. I do Yoni products, your oils, your soaps, things like that. So I am a go-getter. I like to shop. I like to have fun. I like to travel. I've been kind of in mommy mode, so I've been a little boring nowadays. So I haven't really been doing much. Kids kind of slow you down. So
That's true.
I did wait. I'm 35 now, but I had Penelope when I was 32. So she definitely slowed me down. So yeah.
But at least you waited and got into your 30s when I love my kids, but I wish I would have waited until I was a little bit older to enter into motherhood, so you can just enjoy everything and see how adult life is without them.
Absolutely.
But I'll put your Instagram down in the description as well. I didn't see like much of your products on your page, so you definitely got to post it. Or do you have a separate page?
Yeah, I'm more on Facebook than I am on Instagram. I just, since the show, right before the show, I started posting things. So
okay,
I'm definitely going to post some things, on there as well. But I'm definitely more on Facebook than I am on Instagram.
Okay. After we're done, definitely give me the Facebook information too. I'll add it to the description.
Okay, I'll definitely do that.
But it's great, especially seeing you have multiple streams. And I know it's kind of hard with just being a newlywed. I know he's working as well. Yeah. Like, how is that with you both working outside the home, Penelope, and then just trying to make time for each other?
Well, it's kind of funny because since the pandemic started, it kind of helped both of us because we both are able and blessed to be able to work from home. So, we really pretty much spend all day together with Penelope. She's at home with us for now. She'll be going to daycare next week. I'm sad about that, but
Aw.
she needs to make some friends, so we gotta let her
Yeah.
go. But for the most part, we're all at the house together. Both of us working from home, taking care of Penelope. So we're all, together all the time.
Okay. And it's definitely a blessing, especially not having to rush to put your child in daycare
Oh
super
my God.
early.
Yes. I'm
So
dreading.
I understand. I definitely understand. Now, I know on the show it said that you and Omar had met at a restaurant. Tell us a little bit more about like the meeting and how you got into the relationship, because I had mentioned on my review that it seemed like the relationship moved super fast. I don't know. It was only what 30 minutes an hour. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about that.
So that's what they didn't show. So Omar and I actually met in 2010.
Okay.
So basically, Omar and I, we dated for a while. At that time, Omar was in nursing school. He, was doing his thing in nursing school. We kind of dated for a while and then we kind of lost touch. Basically, we remained friends, but we weren't romantically, involved or whatever. So basically, we remained in touch. We remained friends for a while, and then in 2012 is when we basically stopped talking altogether, like friendship and everything. So we basically rekindled. He searched for me, found me on Facebook,
Okay.
and we rekindled in 2018 is when we rekindled. So that's why it seems like, oh my God, like we picked up and like just had a baby. No, we knew each other for a long time.
Right. There was history there.
Right. So it was kind of like when 2018, we picked up where we left off. We started having serious conversations. At this time, Omar had changed his major and he had went back to school and he was about to graduate. So we started having real conversations about, family, getting married, all of those things. So that's basically the timeline. So 3 years was from when we picked up to having the baby and before we went on the show. So that was our 3 year timeline right there.
Okay. See, that gives a little more insight because everybody goes in these shows and they're like the editing, they took
Yeah.
this out, they took that out. And I'm like, how much can they really take out? But that's a lot of information that they didn't even show. So
And it's like you have to think about it. Like they filmed, we were there for I think what was it, 3 days?
mm,
And literally they're filming us from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed. So it was a lot of information that was not shown. And it was some information that they gave that they kind of like grazed over that if you would have blinked, you would have missed it.
right. Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, with all that, I'm like, what can you really show? I feel like they pick a particular topic and hone in on it. And so it's like everything else is just falling to the wayside. But I mean, that was important information, especially knowing like there was history because, yeah, it seemed like it was rushed. The mama didn't really know you. And then there was issues.
right. And that's the thing too. Like when it came to the whole, when we were at the dinner table, like a lot of people were like, oh, she's being disrespectful. She's being rude. She's over talking everybody. Like that situation was edited a lot because everybody had something to say. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if they turned their mics off. How they did their job because I was weird. Cause I was like, for a minute, like, at this point, I know ain't nobody gonna really be heard because everybody was talking and
Right.
had something to say. So it was like the way that they were able to edit it, and at least you were able to hear like what was going on to some degree. It was just the very minimum of it. So basically, the issue came into play with me and his mother because at first, when he and I rekindled, it was basically we had a conversation like we're adults at this point. We're basically I'm established, he's established. So it was like, okay, we want to get married, we want to have a family. We did do things a little out of order. I was really having baby fever and he was too. So it was a mutual thing.
Nothing wrong with
Right.
it.
We had our baby. Our baby was planned. I
Okay.
saw somebody say that I trapped him. Our baby was planned and he wanted to have the baby. He named
Right.
the baby, everything. Before we even conceived her name was Penelope. So,
Him proposing with the onesie lets me know that it wasn't a trapping going on. It
right.
seemed like
I
it was
saw
an
people say
intentional
that.
thing.
Yeah, I was just like, I trapped him. No, we had Penelope, like we definitely had that conversation. So the conversation that we were having at the table where things got heated and I was upset was because when we rekindled and we had a conversation and he was just being honest with me and transparent and he was just like, look, I honestly don't know like how I could basically be with someone and still, have my mother in the picture because his mother, he definitely felt like his mother would want to come and live with him because at that time she was.
Okay.
So, I was just like, at that time, I didn't know his mother at that time because we had just rekindled and reconnected, and I
Mhm.
did not agree to that. And, a lot of people were saying, well, she knew that's the situation before she said I do. And yeah, that's true. But I did not say yes at that moment because I didn't know his mother at that time. But
Yeah.
when I met his mother and, what she was saying as far as I used to come over there and yes, all of those things are very true. I used to come over there. She used to cook. His mother can cook. Oh, she can really cook. Shout out to my mother-in-law for cooking. But we were really, really close. And so at that time is when I was just like, okay, my mind was open to his mother coming and living with us. So like I saw a lot of people saying like, well, um, his mother doesn't have to come and live with her and she has the right to
Mhm.
say that's very true, but it wasn't like that. And it didn't come from me, that came from him. Like everybody was trying to make it seem like it was me, I'm trying to control everything. No, that was his idea. And we had a conversation and she was on board. She wanted to, at this time when we had the conversation, it was after we had been dating for a while. Me and Miss Ada were the best of friends. I was pregnant at this time.
Okay.
Now I just happened to, I did at that time initially, the first pregnancy we had, I did miscarry.
I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
so that, thank you. They didn't show that. And I'll tell you more that'll make sense, but basically when we miscarried we tried again, we got pregnant. So with Penelope, thank God we had a healthy pregnancy with her.
Right.
So when we had Penelope is when I got pregnant with her is when we started having those conversations with his mom as far as like, hey, she's pregnant now, we would love for you to come and move in with us and help us. It was two things involved. It was him not having to help her financially, as well as we would have someone there to help us with the baby.
Yeah.
We didn't want to send her to daycare, didn't want her to be around strangers, so it
Right.
would have worked out. So that was the biggest thing. So she agreed. She was happy. She was all on board. Now, this is where the issue comes in. The issue comes in because I saw a few people who caught it, but like I said, if you would have blinked, you could have. So here's the issue. So Omar has two other siblings.
Okay.
These two other siblings that he was talking, he mentioned they live there. I saw some people who caught it, but other people
Or
didn't
just
catch
so
it.
quick.
Right. So, and I think they might have did that too because they didn't want to participate in the show, which is fine. And we couldn't have
Right.
the story, so I get it. But they did mention it. But if you would have blinked, you would have missed it. But basically, the issue is that in my head at the time, and this could be the truth, but I'm just gonna say we're speaking on the past because me and Miss Ada are in a much better place. At that time, where the issue came in was after we had these conversations and she agreed to move in. I started to think that she didn't want to move in because it happened last minute. Last minute, it was like
Okay.
she was on board. She agreed. Last minute, it was him telling me, "Well, oh no, I made the decision. She didn't want to move in," which I took Omar as not being. Omar doesn't like confrontation, and he didn't want us to have any issues.
Right.
So I took that as him trying to like soften the blow, take the hit for his
Yeah.
mom. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, she didn't want to move in because she's worried about her other two children. And I
Okay.
was at that time, I was thinking like that's selfish because here you are, you have Omar, you have Penelope, and we're trying to basically save some money because we have a new
Right.
child. And you not only are, dependent on him in a way,
Yeah.
but you're also allowing other people to be dependent on him that he should not have to take care of.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes a difference when other people are in the house. But I did hear him say that what did he say? He splits the rent with his brother, or like different family members pitch in and they were all paying a portion. Because then it's like, okay, if his brother is paying, if that's the brother that's staying there, and somebody else is paying it, then he's paying a piece. How does that work out? Because
So I'm going to just say this to be nice. His two brothers, which are both able-bodied men that are older,
mm-hmm.
than him,
Mm.
were paying, one of them out of the two was paying a small portion,
Okay.
and Omar was paying the bulk of that
Mm.
portion. And so when we started dating and talking at that time, I didn't off the wham, and that's when me and Miss Ada, we were friends at this time because I didn't have an input, which really
Right.
everything, like I said, was his decision for her to move in for the situation that was going on.
Yeah.
But really, we were friends at that time. But when she started to think like I'm the one that this is coming from me, and that's when she started side-eyeing me, and I was side-eyeing her because
Right.
I'm thinking that Omar's telling her that, this is coming from me. This was my idea. But she's thinking, well, Omar, you've been doing this, and now that you get with this little fast girl, because you know how mamas are. We always
Yeah.
gonna be a little fast tail girl. So you get with this little fast tail girl, and now all of a sudden, you know, things change. And really
Yeah.
and truly, things do change. He's a man, he's has a family now. So things did change, and we were trying to incorporate her in that. Like, I don't want to see nobody homeless, like especially not Mom Dukes. That's Mom Dukes.
Right.
And your brothers.
I mean, yeah, they grown.
I don't want to see nobody homeless, but
Right. Yeah.
they're
And
grown.
it's two of them. So, I definitely feel you on that. Because I was like, well, now, why would you have, I mean, I even said in my review, like, are we kicking mama out on the street? Like, we're not doing that.
No, no.
But it would
That was
say, like, okay, she came in and now everything changed. Would you have been okay with him saying, like, okay, I'll scale back the amount I'm giving her? Because it seemed like it was just like a straight, like, no nonsense, like, you need to stop altogether.
I'm glad you asked that question. So here we go. So this is where another part that they did not show. So not only did we do that, here we go. So now the lease comes around for a second time because he didn't
Okay.
already sign the lease. She's not moving in with us as we, agreed and I thought we were gonna do. So second time around, here comes the lease again. We had a conversation and he told me, and once again, this his plans. I'm being a wife, or well, not at that time. I'm being a fiance. I'm supporting you, and I'm allowing you to take charge and be the man, and I'm all these things.
Right.
And basically he ended up telling me like I'm just gonna scale back and they're gonna be in a 1 bedroom. I said, okay, 1 bedroom. I didn't know how that was gonna work. That ain't none of my
Right. Yeah.
But I knew it was gonna be something in the game. But that ain't none of my business. But that was what he told me. He was like, I'm gonna scale back to where it's a 1 bedroom. It'll be less money, and that'll be less money that I have to give to my mom. And so I was just like, okay, whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm supporting you in your decision.
Right.
So the problem comes into play when he tells me that they moved into a 1 bedroom, and then I come over there, and it's just ironic that the apartments that they moved to, I knew the floor plan because my friend used to live there.
Okay.
So I'm messy. I'm going in there, and I look, and I realize after the fact, I'm like, this is a 2 bedroom.
Yeah.
I didn't go there with that intention to see, because it was
Right.
the holidays, so we went over there to visit, and I
Eventually, you
just
was gonna see.
yeah, because see, I peeped the scene, and I'm just like, this is a 2 bedroom. I know these apartments. This is a 2 bedroom.
Yeah.
And so, that's what upset me too, because I'm just like, so why is it that every time that we have a conversation, and these are, conversations that you have led, that you are saying this is what you're going to do, why is it that when me and you talk, it's one thing, and then when you tell her, something else happens
Right.
mysteriously. So I think that was the issue. And then if you paid attention to the show, when it came to the whole conversation about, like, when we were at the dinner table and she was getting frustrated and she didn't want to have those conversations. She wanted to leave the table, and she was talking
Yeah.
about, I'm just gonna move, and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, that's not the solution. Like, we don't
No.
want you to be out of the picture. We want, because I saw a lot of people saying, like, don't come between their relationship. That's not at all what was going on. The issue is that I didn't want to come between their relationship, but I felt like she didn't have a problem coming between our relationship, because
Yeah.
if she was
She feel
thinking,
like she's his mama.
right. And she was thinking that whatever we discussed, it was like, it's nothing. Like, y'all discussed the one thing, but look, I'm not moving in with y'all.
Right.
Y'all discussed we gonna downgrade to a 1 bedroom, but that's not what I'm trying to do. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like every time we were making decisions that she thought was coming from me, and all along they were coming from Omar, she was, not trying to get with the program, and it was making it seem as if it was coming from me, like I'm trying to control things, but really those things were coming from Omar.
Right. And see,
So
made me think about my review. I don't want it because now Omar your husband, so I ain't gonna get too messy. But it felt like he was telling stories. Like it felt like he
well,
was telling lies. Did you feel like, because even your family, when they did the Q&A with him, they were like, well, wait a minute now, that's not what Laterrica told us. Like, she didn't say that you was only paying a portion of the rent, or she didn't say these things. So do you feel like him, I guess trying to cover his mom and maybe unintentionally telling stories affected y'all relationship and y'all communication?
it definitely did. But see, you got to think about it like Omar, to be honest, like Omar really has an attachment to his mother.
Yeah.
And Omar has this relationship with his mom to the point where it's like his mother has raised him, and everybody's raised differently. Like,
Right.
you have some parents that raise you to believe that, okay, I'm all you have. You're me, your brothers. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that was how she raised him. Like, I'm all you have, and especially with him losing his father at such a young age,
Right.
I think that even made his attachment to his mother even stronger. So a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he's lying, and and no doubt he did tell a story,
Yeah.
but I think in his defense, I feel like he was really coming from a place of, not trying to cause confusion between the two of us, and also not trying to, I think he was looking at it more so like, if I say something and it's not agreeing with what my mom is saying, I think he felt like that was maybe a sign of disrespect, you know.
Right.
So I think him feeling like he was going against what she was saying and some decisions that she made was, in his opinion, kind of being disrespectful. So I think that's why he wasn't really like firm on the decisions that he made, but those were his decisions.
Yeah, he seemed a little loose. He did go against her at that table when she said, "I'm the one, I'm the one that said I didn't want to move in with y'all." He was standing firm on that, and I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
who's lying here?"
Well, yeah.
Somebody
But
lying. But when she lied and said she would move to Texas, I was like, "Is it the like who's telling the story?" So because then it's like now your family there, and now they're getting involved in the finances, which was really like the main source of the show and the issues. And it's like now they're looking like they could possibly be thinking Omar's a liar, even though he's trying to cover his mom when his mom kind of threw him under the bus.
yeah, I definitely think it was, in my opinion, at that time, and just based on the show and based on the dynamic of how everything else, like when I was talking about how I felt like she was using the baby as far as me keeping the baby away from her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think she was embedding that in him to cause friction between us, to cause
Mm-hmm.
separation between us, divide us. I
Yeah.
think that she was also doing that when it came down to the, like it was some manipulation in that,
Yeah, definitely.
to make it sum it up. At
Yeah.
that time, it was some manipulation involved, like with the whole I'm moving to Texas, like you threaten abandonment to get him to conform
Right.
because you know that he's attached to you, he loves you, you're his mother,
Yeah.
and you, in his mind, you're all he has. Like his father has passed away at such a young age. There has to be something very traumatic to experience,
Definitely.
right? And so when you threaten abandonment, it's so that you can get him to conform and to do what it is that you want him to do. And
Right.
so I think that's where it was coming in, as far as him feeling like, okay, well, I have to do what she wants me to do because I don't want to lose my mom.
Yeah.
And I think she was also making him feel like he had to choose, in which I was feeling bad because I'm just like, that's your mama.
Right.
I don't want
Uh-oh.
you to ever feel like, you have to choose between me and your mama, because we have different places and we have different roles in your life.
Right.
And that was really all that I was trying to get across, because like it was my idea to come on the show. I definitely felt like we got to a point where we were so, me and his mom,
Mm-hmm.
we were so like at each other's like
Right.
disgusting one another, basically, to the point where I felt like it was affecting him. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, when I stood at that table, I was just like, look, I ain't going nowhere. You his mother, you not going nowhere.
I
Stop
love
talking about
that.
going to Texas.
Yeah, I love that. I loved when you did that because it
Right,
showed, like, look, I really am looking to be a daughter to you, and that's what you will be. So
right.
embrace me. I did like that Tracy called it out when they had their meeting, which,
Yeah.
Omar's not here to speak on that, but when they had their meeting with just him and his mother, for those that don't watch the show, Tracy's the therapist on the show, and she did call out the manipulation because it's almost like he turned into a child like when he's around his mother, like he goes back to that little boy. It made me think, like, is he the baby? Is he the oldest? Like you said, there was he mentioned the brother. I did hear that. So there's other siblings involved. Like, why is she so attached to him? And what's that about? Is it
Well,
just because that's his father, and they have, not to get dig too deep, but
he's the youngest, and I don't know what her attachment is to him. And I'll never know that. He is. People could say he's the golden child. He's the one that
mm-hmm.
went to school. My husband graduated, number one in his class. He
Nice, okay.
graduated. Yes, girl. He's number one in his class, baby. So he's very smart. Like,
Brag on your husband then.
yes, girl. And they didn't show that either, because like when we were at the table and we were arguing and going back and forth, like when I pulled her to the side, really, me and her both hugged each other. We were crying because at that point it was just exhausting. Like, look, I'm over whatever we had as far as whatever issues we had. Let's just let it go. It don't matter anymore. Like, we need to get us right so that we're
Right.
not affecting Omar. And like, that was the goal. Like, we just need to be on the same page. Like,
Right. Because it'll also affect Penelope, your
Penelope.
daughter.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm glad that your mother pulled her to the side and said everybody needs to come together because ultimately you do. And for
Right.
her to try to cause strain in our relationship, I would much rather see a household with two parents together raising their child than trying to co parent. So I'm glad that you were standing firm, like I'm not going anywhere, because it almost seemed like she felt like your place was insignificant to hers instead of
Exactly.
just embracing you as an additional a part of the family, a daughter.
Right. I think she felt like, because maybe she wasn't used to, because Omar really is like, Omar has been like a bookworm and kind of like a loner. Like, he really does not like have many friends, and he's really, to himself. So really, I think it was kind of hard for her to see that, like that
Yeah.
transition of him being growing up, being a man, leaving the house, starting his own family. I
Yeah.
think that was kind of hard for her to, experience. But at the same time, I think that, she did an amazing job with Omar. So it's just like,
Right.
you have to trust him to be this amazing person that you raised him to be, and know that I'm not taking your place,
Right.
nor neither am I trying to. Like, you his mother,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's room for both of us. Like, I just feel like
Absolutely.
there's a balance. Like, when we have conversations, don't go back and try to manipulate or make him feel like he has to agree with you because we made this decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't agree with the decision, then you have alternatives. You don't have to come live with us. You know,
Right.
you don't have to go move into a one bedroom, but you have other people that you are living with that are your children that if you want to be responsible for them, then make them work and make them
Yeah.
take care of themselves. Like, that was the moral of the story for me. Like, don't hold him back from what he's
Right.
trying to do.
Yeah, because he wants a family, so he's not going to be able to do everything that he used to do. But if he was to call today, or if she was to call and say, like, oh, my need, we're short and I'm in need of money, would you feel like, because now you're his wife,
Right.
so it's no longer fiance, would you feel today like that's an issue? Like, don't give her anything when you got two other grown men in the house? Or would you be like, okay, you know what? You're not paying rent every month. I don't mind you helping her out this time.
No, that's the thing. Like you said, I don't care about you helping your family here and there, because I'm
Mhm.
sure that he does. He don't have to
Yeah.
run that by me. Like, I'm not counting your every dollar, your every penny. As long
Right.
as you taking care of this household, I don't care. The thing was that was caused a concern to me was the fact that you're doing this every month.
Yeah.
Like, that's too much on anybody to be trying to take care of and be the man of two households.
Right. Especially now that Penelope going to daycare. Ooh.
Right.
that
265
that's
a week, girl.
a that's a mortgage payment right there. So,
Hello.
but what made you decide? Because I really do like Tracy, but what made you decide to go on the show versus like seeing a counselor on your own time?
Okay, so I love reality TV. I'm waiting on my spinoff on. Wait on y'all. Call me. But
If you get on there, look, I just want a cameo.
right. But no, really, like, what made me go on the show was the fact that, I mean, really and truthfully, like, everybody has their thoughts of who was right and who was wrong and whatever, but everybody played their role in that.
Right.
And really and truthfully, when it comes to me and Omar's mom, both of us are stubborn.
Okay.
And I can admit that my role in there was, not only was I being stubborn, I was kind of being childish, because I was assuming things and you shouldn't assume things. And I think
Absolutely.
she was assuming things as well. Like, when she was saying, like, I stopped coming over. Really, I stopped coming over because it was COVID. I was pregnant.
Right.
I was afraid. I had just had a miscarriage right before that. So I'm
Yeah.
not taking no chances. So I think we all played a role in it. And
Right.
I think that,
And a simple conversation could have changed everything.
but both of us are stubborn.
Right.
So it was just like, okay, we had let it go on for too long. Like,
right.
we had went too long. Like, my baby was almost 2. This had been
Oof.
on since I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So just think about it. It was too much time that had passed that
Mm,
both of us are assuming things instead of having a conversation. So when we got to the house, really it was just like I was angry, she was angry, and really, we weren't really I was there because I didn't want Omar to be, affected by it any more than he was, because I could tell it was affecting him. Like,
yeah.
the two most important women in your life are, outside of my daughter, of course,
Right.
but the two most important women in your life are at odds, and here you are in the middle trying to be like the savior of both people, and it's affecting both of them, and then it's affecting you because we not getting along. So really, it did take us going on the show for us to stop being so stubborn and listen, and it forced us to have those uncomfortable conversations, because
Yeah.
Miss Diane, like, even when we were at the floral shop, like, she wasn't really trying to have that conversation. And I'm one of
Yeah.
those type of people. I'm not really trying to have conversations either. I'm one of them type of people that we can get into it and we can be best friends tomorrow. We ain't got to talk about it no more.
Right.
But me and her not talking about it, and we had went so long, it was just like, okay, at some point we got to talk about this. And
Yeah.
we weren't there. We weren't ready to talk about it.
Yeah, you can't sweep it under the rug. I mean, I always feel like on this show, it's like how much can really get accomplished in just 3 days. Like, can think because for the most part, it seems like everybody get back home, and the follow up is like, nope, they fell out again. So I was wondering, like, when I saw, I'm like, okay, good, they're on good terms. The show really worked, but they didn't really show any of the other family members. Like, I know you said they had a lot to say, but we didn't hear it. Like, do you feel like there was anything that the other family members added that helped that wasn't shown on the show?
I think everybody pretty much, the consensus of everybody was the same thing. Like, you need to allow Omar to take care of his family and, not be so involved. And that's why, like I said, when we came from that table, like, I hugged her and we were both crying because I felt bad, because I was like, I wanted us to come to the show to get help, but I didn't want her to feel attacked. I didn't want her to feel like,
Right.
like, oh, you this bad person, because I know it had to been an adjustment for her
Yeah.
to get this, Omar move on and get a wife and get a child. That had to be a lot for her. But
Yeah.
coming on the show, it was just like unbelievable. Like, everything, like, it really, they broke us down. Like, they showed a snippet of that what if thing, and where I asked that question, like, do you feel like basically you supposed to come before me or whatever? And I think a lot of people had a lot to say about that, but I didn't pose that question because of um competition or his mother, we gonna abandon her. I
Right.
posed that question because I felt like there was some, like I said, division. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like everything that we discussed as a family, me and Omar, as far as our plans for our family and us together, she was intruding on that, and she was basically having a say in that. And that's why I was just like, look, we need to
Yeah.
have some
Soon.
boundaries. We need to have some respect for one another. Like, I'm not going to affect y'all relationship. I'm not going to come between you and him. But
Right.
you always going to be mama. And I just want that in return. Like, don't come between me and him and what we got going on, because
Absolutely.
I'm his wife, or I'm soon to be
Soon to
his
be.
wife.
Right. And if
And
he wasn't ready to put you first, then he shouldn't have asked you to be his wife.
exactly. And I felt bad because I felt like she was making him feel like, look, it's either me or your wife. And it's not that. It's room for both of us. It's just, it's
That's
boundary,
it.
and it's balance. Like, you have your mama over here, you can take care of your mama and love your mama and support your mama, but you also have a family that you have to keep in
Right.
mind. You have to run things by me. I can't just go out here and just create a bill or give money away and not discuss that with my husband. Like, that's not how that works. Like, when you marry somebody, y'all become one in every way. And so
Absolutely.
it's just like, don't, if we have a conversation about something, don't change up on what we discuss because you trying to please your mama. Like, I love your mama too, but if we have a conversation and I tell her something, I'm gonna stand firm to it. Like, look, Miss Diane, you know, it's not saying that no, we ain't gonna help you at all. Go on, get on
Right.
down the street, go on and get away from us, you
Yeah.
know. But hey, help me help you.
Yeah.
You know, at the
And then, don't take away from our daughters as well. So it's like, yeah, we can't leave you in the street, but we can't be struggling over here. Did your
right.
mom ever feel like she wanted to step in when, your mother-in-law was kind of overstepping her boundaries?
Oh, girl, they had they little they
Mm,
had they little moment, and I just tried to tell my mama, stay out of that, because
right.
I'm not gonna be disrespectful to Miss Ada, nor would I want. And I call her Miss Ada. I know on the show Diane, that's what everybody was calling her, but that's what I call her. But I'm not gonna be disrespectful to her, nor would I want my family to be disrespectful
Right.
to her, because that causes my husband to look at my mama in a certain type of way, and he loves my mama, and my mama loves
Yeah.
him. So I'm just like, just stay out of that. If anything going on between me and her, we'll work it out. But don't you get involved in it, because then that's when it get messy. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right. It's too much. You won't be able to come back. It was already strained for 2 years. So, and it really seemed like you were the one kind of pushing a relationship. Somebody had to be the one. So I'm glad that you were, because sometimes it gets so far gone, you just don't even come back.
yeah,
But
and we were definitely at that place, and I just really, I'm glad that we did it. Like, people want to say like, "Oh, you went on the show, you told all your business, and
yeah.
whatever." Girl, I do it again, because it really did help us. Like, it helped us
Yeah.
to move forward. It helped us to have those uncomfortable conversations that we would have never probably had we not went on the show.
Right. Now, if his mom didn't get the blessing at the end, how do you think that would have affected like y'all getting married? Do you think that she would have moved forward with getting married without her blessing?
I think Omar definitely would have moved forward, because we knew that we wanted to get married. Like, it wasn't no question on our part as far as he and I. We wanted to get married. Like, he knew. Like, when we picked up where we left off, it was just like instant. Like, we knew, like, I love you. Like, that's my best friend. Like, me and him, like, really, we don't argue and didn't argue about nothing but his family situation. Like, really, like,
Yeah, I was wondering, was there anything, because like you said, there's so much being discussed, and I feel like they like really pick a topic to stick on. Like, was there any other issue that was talked about that just wasn't even shown on the show? It seemed like other like the finances and him helping his mom really seemed to be the only issue, which isn't a deal breaker when you get married. It's finances can be, because it's like what the number two cause of divorce, but it seemed like y'all were able to move forward and kind of work on it to get to the point of getting married.
it was just basically the not, I mean, finances was a part of it, but it was just really that relationship.
Yeah, the mom was.
Relationship that he had with his mom, the feeling of the obligation that he had to his family, and
Yeah.
all the just the family dynamic in general, that played the role in, like, I felt like was really dictating how our relationship was going. Like, we decided, like, when she asked the question about what if he doesn't want to have more kids, it's like, okay, that's a discussion that we have. Like, that doesn't involve you. Like,
Right.
it was just really the I felt like his mother just felt like she just had so much authority to just
Mhm.
input her decision or her opinion in anything and everything that we did, like
Mhm.
raising Penelope, the things that we did with her, like things that she didn't agree with. It was just too much. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like, as a mom, just support us, just, be there, have a relationship with your granddaughter, have a relationship with me, have a relationship with your son, but don't feel like you have a say so in our relationship or when it comes to how we decide to raise our daughter.
Right.
Like, that was my whole thing. Like, let's have boundaries, let's have respect. Like, we know
Yeah.
moms will, overstep sometime. I have to check my mama sometimes. Like, hold up
Right.
now. It's not none of your business, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But
I mean, especially when it comes to your marriage.
exactly. And then I think that she wasn't, I think she was so used to being able to give her input, and
Yeah.
be a, voice in his life, to the point where she wasn't willing. Like, I'm a strong personality, like I was seeing people say, like, oh, she's too aggressive, like, as a black woman.
Yeah, let's not use that.
Hey, now, as a black woman, there is nothing, as being a woman in general, like, we not back in 1920s where we didn't have rights and we didn't have
Right.
we, as a woman, we're liberal, we have rights, we have voices, we work, we can vote, we do all things now. So don't say that I'm being aggressive because I have an opinion about something.
Right.
So, I didn't like that. Like, no.
Yeah, I'm like that because I feel like you can be submissive and
Hello.
still be, have a voice. Like, you don't shut me down. Like, once you say what you have to say, it's a union. It takes two people. So
Exactly.
what did Fantasia say? Like, you the head, but I'm the neck. So it's like we need two people to kind of make this thing work. So it's not just gonna be it's not a dictatorship.
Exactly.
But the dictator wasn't him. It seemed like it was the mom. I don't know if she affected relationships in the past and she thought it's gonna work this time, but this is a completely different dynamic.
I think she has, and not to go too deep into it, because like I said, me and moms, we on good pages. I don't want to turn the wrong page, go down the wrong street.
Just don't tell her about this live. It's okay.
Right. It's people that will, but I don't want us to get on the wrong page. But
no.
When we start looking at things, I'm like, okay, we got two other brothers here, and they single.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah. You don't want all your kids. I feel like you should want your children. And I said this before, and even, the mama said it as well. She said it at the end, like, you have to let your children grow. You do. It's selfish to hold on. When she said she wanted to keep him, she could keep him a baby forever. That was a selfish statement. You're not supposed to keep your child a child forever. You're supposed to allow them to grow and have their own family. Then you're going to turn around and be like, I want grandkids. Well, do you want him to be a baby forever? Or do you want him to have his own family? But it also affected, like you said, y'all thinking about having another child. Where are y'all at with that now, today, with wanting another child?
Let me just take a sip of wine.
I'll take one too.
Now, with family, with having a baby right now, I don't know. I mean, I want to have another child for the sake of my baby. I want her to have a sibling. I don't want her to, be alone. Lord forbid, me and Omar, when we go on, because we got to leave her at some point.
Right.
I don't want her to feel, be by herself or whatever. But at this point, it's just like, girl, a 2-year-old. Whew.
Yeah.
I can take another child. I was like, I waited too long to have kids because I don't know about this. Like, I'm too old for this. Like, I feel like I want to record myself. Like, stop, sit down, don't touch me. Ooh, don't do this, don't do that.
Your patience is definitely thin. I had my first child. He's 10 in my 20s, and now I have my daughter in my 30s. I had her when I turned 31, right before I turned 31. So I'm like, okay, it's just a big difference. Like, my patience is worn out. Like, I'm spread thin. But I feel like if you wait too long, then, we were coming up, it's like now we're getting closer to 40. And then as you have that pressure, even though things have changed and now there's so many different opportunities to have children, like, turning 40 is no longer a thing, but it's still in the back of our mind as a woman. Like, you feel like you had that time clock, that biological clock is ticking. Like, do you feel like if you might regret not having a child?
I think I definitely want to have another child, just like I said, for the sake of, I don't want her to be by herself. And, me and Omar are the youngest,
Okay.
On both his family, my family. So we're both the youngest. So the other children that our siblings had are much older. Now, he does have a niece that's around my daughter's age, but, I'm just feeling like, okay, she'll have her cousin that's close to her age. That's one cousin. But I'm just like, I want her to at least have like a sibling. But girl, right now, it's just like, whew,
yeah.
Do I want to be? Now, I had a good pregnancy, but I'm like, do I want to be pregnant again? Do I want to, miss that sleep again? Like,
no.
starting all over, like.
And it's definitely scary when you had a miscarriage because it's like it's always in. I lost my first child, and it's always in the
Oh,
back of your mind. That's okay, thank you.
yes.
Like it's constantly a thought. Like now, instead of just going through your pregnancy like you normally would, it's just even more of a risk. Especially now, it's like okay, I'm 35. Like now, I'm worrying about health risk and things like that. But I'm glad that the mom is no longer a factor in that decision
Right.
because she shouldn't even have had an influence on y'all two having another child.
Right. That was my point. Like, okay, his mom, just stay mom, stick with
Right.
us, but don't feel like you have a say so on what we decide on or what we don't decide.
Yeah. You need to come over and see the grandchild that's already here.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, I definitely understand, especially but then when you have a gap between kids, you worry about like, is it too gappy? Will they have a bond? So there's like so many things to think about. But with daycare, inflation, I understand wanting to wait a little bit.
Girl, I'm just like thinking like I mean I do want to have one, but it's just like I said, like dealing with a 2 year old and being pregnant, I could not imagine. Cause it's like you already drained from being pregnant. Like
Right.
I'm drained from just having a 2 year old. Like that with the pregnancy, I just can't imagine that working out for me. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna give that one to God. Like I want another child, but it's
Yeah.
like, and I don't want to wait too long because like I know
Right.
my time is winding down, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
That's
see.
I always had a fear of like, when you're having a child in a marriage, like, is it going to take away because now she's getting a little bit older, so now you have a little bit more freedom to date and spend time together again without, constantly worrying about a newborn. Then you start all over again. Like, do you feel like it could affect your relationship like it did when you had Penelope?
No, I'm gonna say this, like Omar is like such a like he's so active and involved in like Penelope's life, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to have a child with. But he is like the love that we have for our daughter, and I think both of us have like an attachment to her to the point where we just don't want to do nothing without her. Like we don't have a life outside of her, which is kind of sad. But we
Yeah.
do, we have our moments when, she goes to bed and we have our alone time, but we don't really want to just like date or go out without her. Like we
Yeah.
both have such an attachment, and like for me, I know my attachment comes into play with I know losing that child and then getting pregnant shortly after has a lot to do with that. But I just know that we both don't really have a life outside of our baby. Like we don't want to be without her. Like we really don't.
Y'all
It's
sound like
bad.
new parents. Oh my goodness. I'd be like,
Yeah.
somebody please.
Yeah, we might need
Take these
another
children.
baby.
Like, I need a break. It will get old one day. Trust me, the day will come and you be like, look, mama, you can come over now. That plan about moving back in.
Right.
Like, come on back and take it to your house. So I mean, it'll change, but right now she's still young. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that it's like these moments don't last forever. So you gotta enjoy them while you can. You'll be blinking and then you'll be like his mom on the couch, like, I want to keep her baby forever.
I know.
You
I'm
gotta let her
already at
grow.
that point. I'm like, I don't want her to leave. Like, I love her. I don't want to send her to daycare. Like,
See, when she start going to daycare, you're gonna have that baby fever.
oh no. I pray to God I won't. I was telling my friend, I said, when I send her to daycare, girl, we going on lunch dates. I need to have a life outside of
You
her by
do.
one.
You do. When I had my son, my dad was telling me like you have to, go out again, and like
Mhm.
after a while, it's like I want to have an identity outside of being a mom. And once you start going out again, it's like, look, I don't want it all the time, but every now and then you have to have some relief. But it will come. Don't worry, it'll definitely come. Do you feel like there's anything else on the show that you wish they would have shown that wasn't shown on the show?
Um, no, I don't. I think that for the most part they captured everything in a tasteful way.
Yeah.
I just think that it was kind of shown like everything was coming from me, and it was like a control thing there. That wasn't the case. It was also, I think, like, I was happy that they did touch on the situation where his mother, at that time, I felt was using things to bring about abandonment issues to
Yeah.
try to control and manipulate things. I'm glad that they touched on that because I do feel like mental health is very, very important. I tell everybody, and I'm not saying that his mom needs help by any means or anybody else needs
Well,
help.
we all do.
Right. When you experience trauma, I feel like you definitely need to um, get help because I think in the Black community, we don't view going to see psychologists or psychiatrists as something that's healthy. I think we revert to just going to Bibles and
Yeah,
going
and going to
to church,
church.
and that's perfectly fine. But I think that God gave us doctors and God gave us medicine for a reason to,
I agree.
help us. And I feel like some people don't take advantage of those opportunities. And I think that, I see someone myself and I feel like I see growth in myself just by seeing and talking to, my psychologist. So I feel like, it's beneficial because it'll not only help you see yourself and what triggers you and makes you react the way that you react, it'll help you to
Mhm.
see what triggers other people and make understand why they do things that they do. And it'll help you better communicate with them or better relate
Absolutely.
to them and understand and be able to have a better relationship with them. And I think that definitely helped me, with his mom and us
Yeah.
moving forward in our journey to, bring about some peace because that's all we
Mhm.
needed to do. Like, we have Omar and we have Penelope, and, we have this misconception that my husband is a mama's boy, and I feel like I want to clear that up. I don't feel like Omar is a mama's boy. I feel like Omar is just a man that loves his mom. He
Yeah.
respects his mother as he should. And,
As he should.
yes, I definitely thank God that, Miss Ada raised him to be the man that he is because she raised the best man for me. I can't take that away from her. Shout out to my mother in law for that. So I'm just glad that we are all on the same page. I'm happy that she's in Penelope's life. I'm happy
Yeah.
that he doesn't feel like he has to choose between me and his mother because never in my mind was I ever feeling like it was me or your mama. It was
Right.
always the both of us.
Absolutely. And when you have a child, I feel like that's usually when people are mature enough, like that will be enough to come together because at the end of the day, you can push your differences aside for the sake of the child, which is what your mother was saying. So I'm glad everybody was on one accord for
Yeah.
y'all relationship for him. And I mean, I feel like it was giving mama's boy until the end when he told his mom, along with Tracy, like, look, I have to put my wife first. So it's like, okay, if you're able to stand up to your mother and tell her and, make your presence and your place known, then you can move forward. She'll have that respect. Because if he's letting her just say anything, like she won't have that respect for you. But when he let her know, like, look, you need to respect this boundary. This is my wife. That I think was to help your relationship, especially when you went along and had the floral arrangement and then y'all had time alone. I'm glad that they gave y'all both time alone with her. And then he pulled her to the side. So it's letting her know, like you said, we're not trying to attack you, but we really do want to have a family with you.
Right.
I'm glad that you're going to therapy. Like, is Omar going? Because I know with him grieving, losing his dad, and then his mom losing her dad, like it just seems to be like a family, like a generational thing of having that trauma. Like, does he go? And would his mom be willing to go as well? Would y'all continue to go outside of the show?
I definitely I don't know his mom's situation. Omar, yes, he has some therapy. We have went to therapy together, so I don't know his mom's situation. I don't know, older people may not feel like they need therapy.
Yeah. Like you
you
said, they
know.
want to go to church and call it a day. We need both.
Right. So, I can't say whether she's, wanting to, but I'm just happy that, we, as long as we are on the same page as far as, she's not intruding into our relationship and we're on a good page and we're not affecting Omar. That's, enough for me. So
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
long as we can be happy and make him happy, that's, you know,
Right.
more than enough for me.
At least he's willing to go because him being a man and losing his father, I know had to have an effect on him as a man. But it seems like he's a great husband, a great father, and a great son. So
Yes, he is.
that's what's most important. But I wanted to know a little bit more about, like, we touched on the wedding. Was the mom, the families, was everybody else getting along? Because I know y'all, kind of rekindled y'all relationship and everybody was fine. Were the families fine?
Yeah, we got when we got married, it was just simple. We just went to the church. We just had his mom, my best friend, and my brother that you
Okay.
saw on the show. That was all that came to the wedding. But we were
Okay.
all on the same page. Everyone was happy for us, That was all the support we needed.
Yeah. I feel like as I'm getting older, I feel like the smaller, more intimate weddings seem to be ideal. Like I don't really want to have, a whole big party and then you don't even talk to those people half the time after the wedding.
Right. Absolutely. And see, the wedding is it's really for the bride and the groom, but people
Right.
have the wedding for other people. And I didn't
Yeah.
do that.
So I
Mhm.
feel like that's letting, everybody know where y'all mindset is. It's on y'all. Like everybody else, it's about you too. So as long as y'all are there, like I would want to make sure, your daughter was there. And like you said, everybody else who's being supportive will be there. But I'm glad that everybody could show up. Like, do you think that there was anything else about the show that because I know you said like there were some things you wanted to let out. Was there anything else? What else I wanted to know with Tracy? I love Tracy McMillan, but did you
Mhm.
feel like with her, not, I know that she said like earlier, she said a few times that she's been divorced 3 times. Do you feel like she was in a place to give advice, being as though she was divorced 3 times? Like, how can you give me advice on how to be married when you've been divorced so many times? But she gives good advice.
Okay, well, I'll say this, and this was something that wasn't aired on the show. I have also been married before. So
Okay.
I do feel like Tracy definitely gave good advice because she's been through it, she experienced it. And that was the thing for me, like being married before and that marriage didn't work out. I think that it gave me insight on how to be better in my next relationship, how I could have changed in my next relationship. And I think in my last relationship, I think definitely communication was our issue. And
Yeah.
that's why I was very passionate and very strong about us making sure that we got to the bottom of whatever the issue was that we were having with his mom, because I feel like if we can't communicate and we just let this fester, then at
Mm-hmm.
some point, then you will mentally check out. And that's what happened in my last relationship. So I didn't want to get to that point with Omar. I wanted to just attack things head on. Like, look, this is the issue. What's the resolution? And let's
Mm-hmm.
make that happen. So I feel like Tracy definitely, with what she has been through in marriage and having different relationships or different marriages, her experience and learning from those things definitely helped us, because she definitely called some things and she was dead on about a lot of stuff.
She was.
She really was.
When she called his mother out, I'm like, thank you.
Like, boom, 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 boom.
Right. But a lot
Shout
of
out to
people don't want to
Tracy.
hear, like, they don't want to hear from someone. Like, we go on the show, it's like, okay, I'm on the show. But ordinarily, it's like, don't tell me, I don't want to hear about it. You're not in the place to give me no advice. When it's like, but she can speak from, an experience on what not to do. And she does this for a living. So I was glad that, she was able to help and give the real in a short amount of time.
Right. And
Was there any?
she definitely got she it was moments where she, had to get me together.
Yeah.
um like I said, it was times where things that were I was assuming, was just me assuming things and me not being an adult about the situation and having those conversations. So she definitely called me out from time to time. So she did a thing. I appreciate her. I definitely learned from the experience, and it helped me to make sure that I don't make those same mistakes again. And it helped me and Miss Ada to, form the relationship and bond that we have now. So I'm grateful for that. Like I said, I would do it again. Like it really made a
Yeah.
difference. Like it was very important that we did that.
Right. And it's important to let the people know not to call Black women aggressive.
Yeah, like
Like, let's
girl,
reiterate
stop
that.
it.
Like, not the A word.
Stop it. Like
I didn't
aggressive.
see no aggression at all. I saw passion. And even when, his mother was like, look, I don't see it for you, girl. Like, you still was like, no, we going to have this relationship. So, but it's definitely how, like, after when they do the follow up, how far, like, how after the show, when do they follow up? The next month? Because I'm like, I'm looking at y'all already married. And on the show, they were saying y'all were going to get married in a couple of months.
Yeah, so we filmed it in February.
Oh, okay.
So I think the follow up was probably like a month, maybe a month and a half after we filmed. So yeah, as soon as
That's
we
not
got,
enough time.
well, yeah, it wasn't, but as soon as we got back, like I saw a change in Omar, I saw a change in Miss Diane. We
Yeah.
all just, it was just enough is enough. Like we all just got on board. We all just, like Ayana would say, we all just did the work. And we just went from there. We just started to communicate more. Me and her talk, like they said, just about every day. Her and Penelope, she comes and spends the weekends with us. Her and
Okay.
Penelope have a better relationship. Her and Omar are happy. I'm happy. It's just a good situation at this time. Because at first, girl, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, y'all look beautiful and look really happy in your photos. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna definitely share it. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram story for anybody who didn't see. Y'all need to see these wedding photos. It's giving aesthetics. if
Yeah.
you if you had to pick between Tracy or Ayanla, who would you pick as far as like therapy wise? Even though Ayanla, she's not really a therapist. I think she's like a life coach or something. But who would you pick?
Oh my God. Now I did try to get on Ayana, and Ayana retired on me. But I'm glad that we did Tracy, because I feel like Tracy, I think Tracy was very tactful in how she presented what she wanted to get through to everyone, and without making people feel attacked, because I think that's important. I think when people feel attacked, I feel like they withdraw and they're not able to listen to things. So I think that Ayana, with her approach, she just gets straight to it.
Right.
She's gonna dive in. She's gonna give it to you straight, no chaser. So I think her and Miss Diane would have been like a nightmare. Like she wouldn't have accepted, she wouldn't have received it. But I think because of how Tracy, was able to come off and present herself and not make Miss Diane feel attacked, I think she was more receptive to receiving it. I think Omar was also more receptive to receiving it as well. Because, I think when we would have conversations about his mom at certain situations, I would feel like he was feeling like I was trying to attack him, or I was making it seem like I didn't like his mom. And, it was kind of hard. So when people feel attacked, they don't really receive what you're trying to tell them. So I think Tracy's approach was, I think she was the best fitting for our situation, because we got some strong-minded people, and you have someone that comes in and is able to, give you a softer approach, but also like, let me just pull back the layers and let me uncover.
She's firm
and
in a subtle way.
Right, and expose the bullshit. And bam, there it is. So, she's very tactful in what she does, but Ayana has a different approach where she just bam on the table. So I definitely think that I think either one, but I think Tracy definitely was more easy for Miss Diane to receive, basically.
Yeah, because I feel like, Miss Ayanla, like, I love her, but she is
it would have been a whole nother show.
Yeah. It would have been a show for ratings. The follow-up would have been Nobody Fixed Their Life. And then y'all would have been moving on to Family of Fiance. Because I'm trying to figure out who fixed their life after Fix My Life.
Girl, it would have been just me knowing they personalities and they coming together, baby. It would have been a mess.
But she was willing to go on the show, so that says a lot. Because usually people be like, "I ain't getting on there," telling my business. So the fact that she was willing to even come on there was showing, like, all right, at least she wants to work on it. She just don't want to be the first one to make the move.
Right. Yeah.
And you can always watch this back. That's the positive of going on the show. Like when you feel like, all right, I feel like our relationship. Let's remind ourselves when we was on the show what we need to do.
Right. And she loves Omar and I love Omar. So it was just like, he wanted her to come, so that we can work whatever we had going on out. And it was a battle at first, but she, wanted to support him. So she got on board. So
Yeah.
I'm
And the fact that he was willing. Now
yeah.
you said you were going another. If you had to pick another show to get on, what show would that be?
Mm. I don't know. I think I would want my own show at this point.
Then you're gonna have to throw your mother-in-law back underneath that bus.
I said I wouldn't even do another show with Miss Diane, even though Miss Diane, like the things that another part of y'all, that part of Miss Diane that y'all didn't get to see is she's very funny. You might have saw you got a little hints there, and here and there, but she's really funny. And oh my God, I wanted to touch on this too because they all made this really messy when we first came into the house. Well, my family came into the house and we were walking through, and I was like, "This is the lit crew." And they edited that to make it seem like we came in and we didn't even speak, and I was just being rude, and I didn't even introduce the family. Like, first of all, everybody basically knew everybody. Secondly, we had already like spoke, and I was showing them the house at this point. It wasn't like they came through the door and I'm just like, okay, we just gonna breeze through y'all, forget what y'all talking about, my family here now, this the lit crew coming through. That's not how that happened either.
See, but we would never know. We would never know just watching it. It seemed it was good.
They was messy, girl, that time. It was some other messy stuff they probably could show.
See, do you feel like me and Miss Diane good? They all watching the show like, no, wait a minute. Now we watching the show and now I got problems with you, girl.
Right.
But it always trips me out every time I watch that because it's usually like the same thing. Y'all look at the house, meet with Tracy, the family comes in, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, hey!" Like y'all haven't seen each other in years, and I'm like, "Do y'all not see? Like, do they tell y'all to act that way? Like you seen them for the first time?"
Yeah, when you come to the house, like there's moments where you do have to, like when we first met Tracy, like we did that multiple times.
Oh wow!
When our family came, we did that. I think the family came in. I think we might have just did that one time. But it is moments where you will do things multiple times. But for the most part, everything is real. Like the story, the situation.
Right.
They take parts that they want to talk about. They may have moments and times where you're having a conversation and they'll tell you to mention something, or they'll tell you, can you say that again? And it's kind of hard because it's like, I've been drinking liquor and you want me to all speak again that I just
Hey, we had a moment and you want me to do it again?
Right. So it can come off like, oh, okay, that's fake or that's not real. But sometimes you literally, like, you can have your mic in the wrong place and you could have said a heartfelt speech and then bam. Can you say that again? Like, I don't remember what I did.
Right. It's like, I'm not an actress. I can't. The only thing I feel like for the most part, it seems real. Besides that, like the introduction when y'all hugging your families, it's like, oh my gosh, my family. And it's like, people be on the show like, yeah, I live with my sister. And it's like, wait a minute, why are you acting like you don't see your sister every day? And then at the end with that blessing ceremony, 9 times out of 10 on y'all episode, I knew everybody was going to give the blessings. Like, did you feel like you were nervous about that? Because I feel like we already know pretty much, you can gauge if you're going to get the blessings or not.
I don't know. I was a little nervous about his mom. Like, I think everybody else I knew, but like his mom, I think we made progress and, we already had a relationship, but I was afraid because I was just like, okay, I'm stubborn, you stubborn. Like, are you
Yeah.
going to give us your blessing? But she, she gave us our blessing. And the part that touched me the most was that she, told me that I was a good mother because, she, I felt like, had something to say about, oh, you need to be doing this with Penelope and da 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 da. So, that really touched me that she, acknowledged the fact that I'm a good mother because I try my best, girl. It's a
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah, it really is. And I was talking to my son's grandmother about this. She's on there. She's actually on here now. And I was like, I feel like, I said, like, I don't feel like I got acknowledged. And she was, or I get appreciated. She was like, no, we appreciate you. But I'm like speaking in general. Like, I feel like as mothers, you're just expected to be a good mother. But like with fathers, it's like you praising them. And it's like, oh, great job. You like spent time with your child. And as mothers, it's like it's expected. So we don't feel like we get that same recognition all the time.
Exactly, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Like I feel like it's a known thing. Like as a mother, by nature, you're supposed to be the one that is the nurturer and the one that takes care of the children. And the dads, if they step in or if they step up and they do what they're supposed to do, it's this thing that's honorable, and which it is on. But for me, it's on both parts. Like it's mothers out here that are unfit, so
Absolutely.
I feel like for you to be a mom and you're trying your best and you're making things happen, that's honorable too. So,
Yeah.
for his mom to, acknowledge that, because baby, I lose sleep for my child. I,
Right.
can't work certain jobs for my child.
Tell me
I,
about it.
you make sacrifices. So, just being a mom. So I felt like that was important, and I was happy because it made me feel like at first, like she critiqued everything that I did. So for her to acknowledge, like, you're a good mother, I feel like you're a good person for my son. Like that really meant the most. Out of
Yeah.
everybody's blessings, her blessing meant the most to me because, I want her to feel that peace that, her son had someone that she feels that, Lord forbid anything happened to her
Right.
at any point, that I'm gonna be there for him. And that's the case. Like I love her
Yeah.
son. I'm always gonna be there for him. I'm always gonna take care of him. He's always gonna take care of me. I'm always, that's the goal. So I was happy that she felt, that confidence and that peace to give us that blessing.
Yeah, when people say they don't care about their, spouses, families being involved, that it's just crazy. Like it matters. It does matter. I feel
It
like what she was saying in in the confessional a lot was that she just never imagined that her daughter-in-law, like even though she wants him to love, she wants her to love her son. It's like, okay, well, I want her to like me too. But I felt like I didn't, she need to realize that you do love her. You did have love for her and you wanted that relationship with her. Like you said, two stubborn people, it takes time, but she was worried about you liking her. But it's like she has to be open. She has to open the door for you to show her that, and she has to be receptive and show that as well. It works both ways.
Right. It was just both of us being stubborn, just both of us assuming things. And you know what they say about assumptions? You make an ass out of yourself when you make assumptions. And both of us were making assumptions. I'm assuming, things about her, and she's trying to control the situation. She's assuming that I'm trying to control the situation. She's assuming that I'm trying to take her son away from her. All these things. I don't want to be around her when really it was the COVID situation. It was just a lot of assuming going on instead of just two grown people coming together and having a conversation and saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. Let's resolve it. Let's
Mhm.
just be two grown women," and we didn't do that, and it took the show for us to do that. And you
Mhm.
know I'm thankful for it, but
Mhm.
we could have been two grown women and big
Right,
and
without
the bigger
shame.
person and did it, but we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it happened the way it was supposed to. I mean, in 2020 was already stressful enough, so it took like
Woo.
some time for it to kind of die down for y'all to get where you are now. So
Uh,
I mean, if it's things are meant to work out, they're gonna work out, and it did.
yes, it did.
But I thank you so much for having this time with me today. Is there anything else you want to, let the people know before we get off?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Well, I'll definitely, like I said, let me know if you want me to put anything in the description. I'm going to share your wedding photo, if you don't mind, on my Instagram because I want the people to see it. It was very beautiful. I love your family.
Thank
And
you.
I'm glad everything worked out for the best. If y'all are watching and you didn't subscribe, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Make sure I'm going to put your Instagram down. Let the people know your Instagram. We need to get this growing.
Yes, I'm Laterri12 on Instagram. It's LATERRI12.
Yes, because we got different businesses. We're going to get it grown. We got to help each other out here in these streets. So
Absolutely.
support a Black business. All
Hello.
right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed you today, and hopefully I'll be seeing you on my screen soon.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.